So I got an update, some questions for you. So May 19th, 2025, when the city of Wayne broke into my house to enforce a law that doesn't exist, they called out two additional police departments to my property. There were well over a dozen, upwards of 2 dozen police officers that were called out to my house. Definitely a dozen. I think more than that though. We're trying to figure out how many and who, but that's proven to be a little difficult because the city is not, they're not complying with the law. You know, Deputy Chief of Police Finley Carter is claiming that there is no police report from May 19th, despite the 2 dozen police officer presence that lasted seemingly at least an hour. But he's claiming the city of Wayne called out multiple different police departments, Westland and Canton, and we do have police reports from those departments. Of course, they just say we assisted Wayne and that's it. But we still have those, right? So we have proof that this incident occurred, that this isn't a figment of our imagination, that this actually occurred on May 19th, and it was a traumatic experience. There was an assault and battery by a Wayne police officer against me, a disabled veteran. His name was Jeremy Sermon, Serman. So Jay Sermon assaults me, puts his hands on me, batters me too. That's the definition of battery. Cuts off my movement, stalks me, basically molests me on my own property. And one of his police officers, El Zabadi, repeatedly told him to stop, right? So why would his coworker tell him to stop if he wasn't doing anything wrong? Well, that's the $1 million question. But then the next question is, of course, is how do you not have a police report from an incident where an officer made contact, whether I made contact or he made contact, it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is there was a physical contact that had happened between a police officer and a civilian. You were on someone's property for an hour, supposedly enforcing the law, right? Which, come to find out, you weren't enforcing the law. And so how could the city of Wayne not have a police report from that day, but the other two police departments do? It's all very peculiar. So I'm wondering if any of you guys have any advice on what would you do in a scenario like this, right? If you have all the body camera footage from the incident, or most of the body camera footage. You have the body camera footage from the city of Wayne, some of the footage. However, there's other police officers involved where you haven't received their body cam footage, and I guess I need to go to Westland and get their body cam footage, because there was at least one Westland police officer, and then I believe maybe a second, and then there was also a Canton police officer or two as well. But even tracking all those people, there were still police officers there that are unaccounted for. And so we need to figure out a way to get all of that information, all of those body cameras, because it's all pertinent information, right? We would like to know what was said, right? Because there was the main police officers from Wayne that were, obviously breaking into the property, but then there were also what seemed to be like a dozen police officers on the standby that were, still breaking into my property, but they were just kind of hanging out in the front yard, I guess. So we have to figure out, well, how many police officers were there, and then of course, where's the police report that they claim doesn't exist? There's a citizen's complaint filed the next day, May 20th, but there's no police report. But the citizen's complaint states that they reviewed all evidence, including all police reports, but there's no police report. But there's body camera footage of a police officer putting his hands on somebody after breaking into their property to enforce a law that doesn't exist. But we're just supposed to ignore this, apparently, or not ask questions. Well, not asking questions is just not in my nature. So we are going to be following up with that, trying to figure out, very interesting stuff, because I've never heard of a call to action like this, and I've never heard of a police officer calling themselves out to your house, because that's what they did. We have the record of it, where the city of Wayne orchestrated an emergency fire run. They called themselves, they created their own exigency, essentially, and called themselves out to my property to enforce a law that doesn't exist. And now there's no police report, right? There's no police report from that day, despite, a dozen cops or more on your property for at least an hour. Strange. It's pretty strange stuff. So this is Poop Blues, obviously, the Poop Talk channel, and what better way to talk about shit? The shit stain from Wayne. What better way to talk about the shit from Wayne than to talk about Wayne while you're taking a shit? What better way? Seems very fitting to me. So I'm gonna get back to it, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Grimbrowski, you're probably watching. You watch me all the time. I guess you're my biggest fan, which is kind of creepy, if you want me to be honest with you. You like to murder veterans. You murdered John Zook Jr. in cold blood on June 24th, 2024 in his own home, and then you broke into my house to enforce a law that doesn't exist. So I don't want you back at my house. I just want to make that clear. I prefer if you'd stop stalking me and my family. We're just not that into you. But yeah, your day is coming, buddy. Your day is coming. And what I mean by that is in the courtroom, your day is coming. You're going to have to explain yourself. You're going to have to explain your actions that day and how you were justified in breaking into someone's house multiple times to enforce a law that doesn't exist. So that'll be fun for you. That'll be fun for you to have to explain. Can't wait. But hope it's been informative, guys. Talk to you next time.